Escrow Hearts, Open Houses and Open Hearts, by Abby Turner. Chapter 1. Duct tape, drive, and a decent blazer. Madeline Mads Hartley had mastered the fine art of smiling through existential dread by the time she was 8. It was a skill honed in the crucible of trailer park diplomacy, part cheerleader, part hostage negotiator, and part exhausted third grader figuring out whether her mum's boyfriend of the month was the type who'd fix the kitchen sink or drink from it. Her mum, Dana, was the kind of beautiful that made people forgive things they shouldn't. Big hair, big laugh, bigger mess. She could walk into a room and convince someone to lend her $20 and a couch to sleep on, all while lighting a Virginia Slim with the ease of a woman who'd never read a warning label in her life. Dana loved hard and fast and inconsistently. She called Mads her miracle, which was sweet until it was followed by, "Can you cover the electric bill this month, baby girl?" Mads learned early that love didn't always come in tidy packages with bows. Sometimes it came in the form of lasagna from a box and a fridge full of expired condiments. Sometimes it came with apologies that sounded more like excuses, and hugs that lingered a little too long after a shouting match. By 28, Mads had traded in food stamps for a platinum American Express and the comforting anonymity of Los Angeles traffic. She had ascended the property ladder, one aggressively staged open house at a time, the all while perfecting the dead-eyed confidence of a woman who could sell a 900-square-foot bungalow as cozy and intimate, rather than likely haunted by the regrets of a 1970s divorcee. She was good at real estate. No, great. Like, had a billboard on Sunset kind of great, though she quietly hoped no one noticed the way her right eyelid twitched whenever someone said, "market volatility." Still, her past trailed her like a weird smell in an Uber. You can Febreze trauma, but it doesn't really go away. Chapter 2. Love interest incoming. Probably a mistake. It was a Tuesday, which meant Mads was only 2 espresso shots away from cardiac arrest and wearing a pencil skirt so tight she could hear it beg for mercy. She was halfway through explaining to a couple why a fixer-upper with a sinkhole in the backyard was a generational opportunity when she saw him. Tall, brooding, and annoyingly symmetrical, he strolled into the open house like he'd been bred in a lab for dating app thirst traps. His name was Leo Vargas, which sounded like he should either be solving crimes or writing bad poetry. "Is this still available?" he asked, nodding toward the house with all the enthusiasm of a man who'd rather be anywhere else. His voice was low, deliberate, like he thought everything he said should be followed by jazz. "It's in escrow," Mads replied. "But if you'd like a house with a slightly less aggressive mildew problem, I've got just the thing." He smirked. "You always this charming when selling borderline biohazards. Only on weekdays." She hated him immediately, which, of course, meant he'd be in her life until at least Chapter 17. Chapter 3. Trauma bonding and other fun first date topics. Leo, as it turned out, was not a trust fund baby masquerading as a moody adult. He was a structural engineer who had recently moved back to LA after a messy breakup and one too many therapy sessions that ended with, "And how did that make you feel?" Their first date wasn't supposed to be a date. It was supposed to be coffee, a 10-minute networking thing, but 10 minutes turned into 2 hours, and 2 hours turned into accidentally brushing hands while arguing about whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie. "It's not," she insisted, sipping her overpriced oat milk latte. "It's just a movie that happens during Christmas. That's like calling Jaws a summer movie because someone's wearing a bathing suit." "Terrible take," Leo said. "Next you'll tell me Home Alone is a psychological thriller." "It kind of is," she deadpanned. "A child repeatedly outsmarts 2 grown men and enjoys it. That's at least 2 DSM categories." He laughed, really laughed, and Mads felt the unfamiliar twinge of liking someone without wanting to run. Chapter 4. The Great Emotional Collapse of Q3. Things were good. So naturally, they fell apart. Mads had never been good at receiving love. She could flirt, banter, and perform emotional CPR on clients mid-breakdown, but real vulnerability made her itch. Like polyester sheets, or mom's boyfriends. Leo wanted more. More time, more honesty, more of her. And Mads, well, Mads wanted to disappear into her color-coded planner until feelings stopped being a thing. "You don't let anyone in," Leo said, during what would become the big fight. "It's like dating an Instagram reel. Filtered, edited, curated." "Well, excuse me for not monologuing about my childhood trauma over dinner," she snapped. "Some of us cope by working, and some of us cope by feeling. But you'd rather sell houses than deal with your own." Oof, that one hit like a foreclosure notice. Chapter 5. Redemption, slightly used. 6 months passed. Mads focused on work, therapy, finally, and adopting a rescue dog named Kevin, who barked at men and mirrors, both for valid reasons. Therapy, as it turned out, was not just for the kind of people who owned Himalayan salt lamps and used boundaries in sentences. Her therapist, Jean, was an older woman with steel grey hair and the kind of voice that made you want to spill secrets you'd buried in childhood. They spent weeks untangling the threads of her relationship with Dana. "You forgave her for things no child should have to forgive," Jean said, "but you never stopped waiting for her to apologize." That was the thing. Dana was never malicious, just chaotic. Love for Dana had always been reactive, a sprint, not a marathon. She said she was proud of Mads, but it was often followed by asking if Mads could co-sign a loan. Dana wasn't evil. She was tired of life, of herself, of disappointment. She had grown up poor too, except she never escaped it, not emotionally. Her ambition had been blunted by years of failure, addiction, and men who mistook her recklessness for confidence. Mads had been the lone bright spot in Dana's grayscale world, and Dana loved her daughter in the only way she knew how. Widely, inconsistently, and with too many expectations pinned to someone who was still learning to be a person. Flashback chapter, Broken Mirrors and Breakfast Burritos. Mads was 13 when she realized her mother's love came with fine print. It was a Tuesday, because of course it was. Tuesdays were always Dana's worst days. Some astrological vortex or just the hangover from Monday's optimism curdling into resignation. Mads had made breakfast, microwaved burritos and tang, the currency of champions. Dana was on the couch, staring at an infomercial about ab sculpting belts, with the look of a woman wondering if 6 payments of $19.99 could solve her problems. "School called," Dana said, not looking at her. Mads paused, fork midair. "Okay. They said you missed third period. Again. I was in the library, finishing a paper." Dana's voice got sharp, like glass. "They said you were seen outside. With that, what's his name? Kenny." Mads rolled her eyes. "We were studying." "Oh, studying." Dana let out a bitter laugh and finally turned to look at her daughter. "Don't lie to me, Maddie. That's all I ask." Mads stood, shaking. "I'm not lying. Why do you always assume the worst?" "Because I've been the worst," Dana shouted, rising suddenly. "I know how this goes. Don't you think I see it? You're already smarter than me. You already think I'm a failure. I don't think that. You don't have to. It's written all over your face." And then Dana did what she always did when emotions got too big. She fled. Out the door, car keys jangling, barefoot and furious. Mads sat back down, the burrito now cold. She stared at the blank space where her mother had been, the space she'd always tried to fill with grades, chores, being good, but it never filled. She learned that day that love wasn't just what you gave, it was what the other person had the capacity to receive. Chapter 6. Open Houses and Open Hearts. They met again in front of a mid-century ranch in Silver Lake. Neither of them was looking to buy. "I've got a new listing," she said, voice steady but soft. "Needs some work, but the bones are good." He smiled, hands in his pockets like always. "I like fixer-uppers." They walked through the room slowly. She pointed out flaws he pretended not to see. The hardwood needed refinishing. The backyard was a jungle, but when they stood in the kitchen, looking out the wide window at a scraggly lemon tree, it felt like maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something livable. "I don't need perfect," he said. "I just need honest." "I'm learning," she replied. They stood there, flawed and fumbling. Two people learning how to choose each other even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. because some hearts don't come turnkey, and that's okay. Epilogue. 2 years later, give or take. The house in Silver Lake was theirs now. Not perfect, not finished, but livable. Leo had installed shelves that leaned slightly to the left, which he blamed on quirky charm. Mads had painted the kitchen a shade of green that looked different every hour, and claimed it was intentional. They hosted open houses sometimes, just for fun, to remind themselves where they started. Dana sent birthday cards now, usually late, sometimes with a check that bounced, but the thought counted more than Mads liked to admit. Kevin, the emotionally fragile dog, still barked at men and mirrors. Mads no longer flinched at happiness. She still didn't trust it completely, but she didn't run from it either. Love was messy, redemption was incomplete, but life was home. And this time, she wasn't selling it. Thank you for listening to Escrow Hearts. We hope you enjoyed this tale of love, understanding, and acceptance. Join us next time for another tale from the Redemption Files. Please like and subscribe to never miss an episode. It really helps the channel. This is Abby Turner. Take care until next time.